Hey guys, so I decided to film my solves today because I've never actually filmed my solves before, and I thought it would be fun to see how I can improve, see what my solves look like, and maybe put myself under a little bit of pressure to get a good average on my first try. So this was my first average that I filmed on camera, and I think it actually went pretty well. If I went to a competition and got this time, I'd be pretty happy with it. So what I'm going to do now is walk through these solves and see how I did. Let's go. So the first solve was amazingly straightforward. I did red cross and two pieces are already solved and I have these two. So what I did was U, R2, F, R prime, and this is my first pair. So I inserted it into the back and then did these two next. And then next I had these two. And then lastly, these two get paired up. So insert that, and then I have a fat soon and an EPLL afterwards, and I just did a U-perm. So on the second solve, I missed something amazingly easy. I did yellow cross, but on the red cross, there's actually something really easy. So there's this edge, and if you put them in the most obvious way, so like this, then you get this this pair preserved, and then you just have that cross edge to insert. So I don't know why I didn't see that, but I did the yellow cross. So what I did was, first of all, solve blue relative to orange, just with R2, and then I have green here and red here. So what I'm going to do after that is U to put the green on top of the red, and then L2, D prime to align the cross, and then L2 to solve the red. And for my first pair, I did this one, the blue-red with this. So after the R2, this edge is going to go here, and it's not going to move afterwards. Well, I'm going to do a U, so it's going to move over here. And then this corner here, after an R2, it's over here. Then once I do the U doesn't affect it, and then D prime moves over here. No, I'm going to do L2 first, and then the D prime, and then I'm going to do another L2, which puts over here, and corner is sticking upwards. So I know I'm not going to have to rotate, and I know that this is just going to be right here. I can do a U afterwards to start setting it up. So R2, U, L2, D prime, L2, and like this. So I do the U to put this on top of the edge, on top of the center, and then do this pair, and I saw this pair while doing that. So insert that, and next I saw these two. So do that, and lastly that. So pretty straightforward. And then for OLL, I noticed with this corner permutation that I'm going to get headlights on the left for PLL, and normally my headlights are on the right since I'm left-handed. So after I did the OLL, first thing I did was recognize what PLL I had really quickly, so that while I do the U2, I can do the PLL recognition, so that basically PLL recognition gets a lot faster that way. And since I know headlights were going to be here, I knew that my pre-AUF was going to be a U2. So I did the U2 with my left hand, which was a mistake, because like a slight mistake, because then I had to regrip and do the J-perm. But if I had done a right-handed U2 instead, then I can go straight into the J-perm like that, which has no pauses. So that was just a slight mistake I made, but it wasn't really a mistake this solve. It was more like a bad habit that I have. So that's something that I do need to change. So this one had a really easy cross. I did cross on blue, and see these two are solved relative to each other. And then we have the orange one here, really easy, and the yellow one here. So my first moves were going to be D prime and L to insert the yellow edge. And I noticed that this corner piece was going to end up over here, oriented facing upwards, the blue sticker. So the edge is right here and it's not going to move during my cross, so I know that's going to be my first pair. I also noticed that this edge is going to be solved, which means I don't have to look for it later, because I know it's going to be right there, which can make for a really easy case if I see the corner in the top layer. So I go ahead and do D prime L, then do this one, so D prime R2, and go into my first pair that I saw during inspection, and there's the corner right there. So I knew that I could just do that as my next case, and so I do these, and I knew that that edge was going to be there because I remembered it from inspection. Now here's where I was really dumb. So looking at it now, I can see that if I did this pair first, I would actually set up this pair. I couldn't tell like exactly right away where this would be, but I could tell just like from seeing this case a few times that this would be set up afterwards. So instead of doing that and then doing one cube rotation to go into this, and then doing a kind of like summer variation, but it's really just insert this and then go straight into a soon. Wow, I even got a J perm afterwards. So that was really nice. So I would have been able to basically do OLL as fast as if I skipped it, but instead I had this case, and I decided to do this one first for some reason, which gives me an extra cube rotation and a lot more moves. So I did that first, and miraculously these two still ended up pairing up somehow, but the other way probably would have resulted in a faster solve. So I did that, and then I have a COLL. So these two are the same, and these two are opposite for an H case. And so I do that. And then a U perm. So the fourth solve was just terrible by a lot of standards. The time wasn't great, and the look ahead was really the reason why this was such a bad solve. So I did red cross here. I'm going to do D prime R2, no, D R2 to solve these two relative to each other, that and that. And then next we have these two. So I'm going to do D R2, F prime, D, L, D. And the reason I didn't talk about my first pair was because for some reason I decided I was spending way too long on inspection, and I didn't have time to look at my first pair. So I kind of panicked at this point. I may have done some random U moves, but I ended up doing this pair, which is good because that's the faster one. But I think either one would have been okay in a speed solve because they're both really fast cases. Then I do this one afterwards, which was preserved from the pair I did before. And next, I have these two and I have these two. For some reason, I didn't see these two, so instead of doing this one which has no rotation, just like last solve again, I did an extra rotation. So I did this one first and ended up with this case, which is not a great case. It's not bad, but it's not great. So what I do is I insert the edge into here and then do this case. Then to punish me for all the things I've done, I end up with an N perm. So I don't know if it matters that much when you're at home, because at least I usually give myself unlimited inspection time just to make sure that I make sure I look for the right things and don't rush my inspection. But in the case of being in an actual competition, if I were to get that solve, I guess the moral of the story is if you're panicking and you think you're running out of time, if you're color neutral and you can't find the right cross, just like pick the first cross you can figure out a quick solution to, and then think about your first pair. Like as soon as you start panicking, maybe that's one thing to do. I don't know, maybe that's just for me, but at least that's what I could have done to make that solve a lot better. So for the last solve, I had a really easy cross on green. And so here's the orange one here in one move, and red here, white here can go in with the orange, and lastly is yellow back here. So what I noticed is once I do these two, I'll have done an F prime, which brings this pair up to here, which is not a good pair. However, the yellow will end up over here, so I'll just show you that. And if you've done putting the yellow into the back here, or like into the front, like I'm pretty sure everyone has done that enough times for the cross to be able to notice that what happens with this corner is it's going to move over here and maintain its orientation. So green bottom, so the green sticker will still be facing up. In hindsight, I didn't see this, but like in hindsight, if I had done this before I did everything, I would have preserved a pair. But anyway, what I did was that, and then so the corner moved to over here, and then that is my first pair. And meanwhile, I saw these two, and I know they're going to stay around here. So I tracked them, and I got this case. And I think I was a little bit unsure about what to do, but for some reason I did U2 before starting the case, which is not right. I'm not supposed to do that. And then, no, I think I did a U, and then afterwards I did a U2, and then I started the case, which is insert the corner, and then solve this F2L pair. Next is these two. Pair them up like that and insert. And lastly, this one was made for me. So normally for this OLL, when I have all corners oriented, I should be able to skip PLL recognition, as in the moment I notice the OLL, I'll spend like just a fraction of a second longer checking what this is, like just looking at the stickers. And then while I do my OLL, I'll kind of process that in my head, like what did I just see? And then by the time I get to PLL, I'll already know what PLL case I had, just because by looking at all these stickers, except for the blue, because that's my last layer color, I put this sticker right here in my mind. And I talked about this in one of my videos, but basically that lets me recognize before I get to PLL that this is going to be a G perm. And it's a little bit harder on this one, but for something like a J perm or like a U perm, it's really, really easy. So I kind of was nervous and couldn't tell that it was a G perm, but I did see these three stickers, which was enough to kind of speed up PLL recognition just a little bit, I think. But then I kind of messed up on the PLL during execution. I did just switch this out recently, so I do mess it up sometimes. Yeah, so that's why the solve got a little bit slow at the end. So that's it for this video. I hope you learned something new at least. Some of the solves were a little bit straightforward, but then some of the other solves I did try to talk about what I was thinking and what made certain parts of the solves good and certain parts of them bad. Not just like how I turned, but like what I was thinking and how that made certain parts of the solves good or bad. So filming my solves was sort of new for me, and it did make me more nervous than I expected to be. So if you have trouble dealing with competition nerves, maybe that's something you could do to help. Like don't just like set up a camera, maybe not just that, but like actually tell yourself that you only get like X number of solves before you're gonna like really sit down and look at it. Because I only gave myself like one average before I had to look at it, and I actually did well. So that was pretty good for me. And so that's it. And if you like it, you can leave a like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And I'll see you next time.